What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to episode number 2 of the Operators Only podcast. And I'm your host, Cody Gilbert. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. We have made it to episode number 2. Pretty stoked about it. The last episode did pretty good considering the fact that no one knew that this was even a podcast. Very grateful for the people that have subscribed to YouTube, left some likes and some love on there. I'm hoping to continue to grow. I know the last episode, it was a little weird. The enthusiasm that I should have had wasn't there. It was late at night. I was tired. Today, though, we got a rain day. It is absolutely pouring outside. And if you're in this business, you know you can't move dirt in the rain. So after this podcast, I got to run back to the main HQ there, and we're going to do some equipment maintenance. We got some equipment going out to a new job coming up, so we're going to go handle that stuff today. But I thought I'd squeeze one in until the rain quit. So again, thank you guys for tuning in. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like this video, and comment down below some questions you may have or some guests you'd like to see on the show, or anything like that. But please leave some love. Again, this podcast is sponsored by absolutely nobody, because no one knows that it's even a thing yet. I hope to get to that point, though. I really do. So yeah, no sponsors. And just to preface and go over a little bit of the last episode, it was just more of an intro as to why I'm doing this podcast. We answered some questions from some of my followers on social media, and just kind of had a trial run, I guess you could call it, is what it was. But I had a great time. I really enjoyed it. I love these long format platforms where I can actually speak and I don't have to make 30-second clips, and I can actually explain myself some. And I really like that. So I'm still looking for some guests. I'm not just going to bring anybody and everybody on, because I know everyone wants to be on a podcast this day and time, but I want to get some people with some weight, some knowledge, some wisdom, and a really good opinion on this industry. And so yeah, this episode, I've been watching some stuff on social media, and it's really got me thinking. A couple of points that I want to go over to kind of give my opinion on the stuff, and maybe even see where you guys stand. You just leave me a comment below. But I was literally just a little bit ago, I had it on my brain to make an episode about this, but I literally just saw a video probably an hour ago on Instagram about automated equipment. And I have my opinion on that stuff. And I know everyone has their own, and I'm pretty sure, I am 90% sure that we all are pretty much in the same ballpark area of opinions. Now, I know there's people out there who love technology in the future and see it to be positive. And I think there is some positive attributes of automated equipment. But at the same time, unless you've operated equipment, and that's the thing, this is going to bring forth people who have never operated equipment before. If it goes to the video I seen was a guy, it was talking about you could run a piece of equipment from a different country and then just swap over to another one whenever you feel like it. So you could be employed by multiple, according to this video and according to that information. I've not researched it myself. I've heard a lot about it. I'm not really dove into it. I've talked to some people about it. But if that's the case, you could probably work for multiple companies. And if it goes this route, being an operator is pretty much done for. Honing in on the skill sets and the time in the seat is completely done for, in my opinion, because if you've ever operated equipment, you know there's more to it than pulling levers. You got to feel it in your butt. You got to see what's around you. And especially like GPS equipment, I know people hate it, and here we are again, but there's a lot more to it than just clicking a button. There's the entire model could be, I just don't see that happening. Not in a GPS. I mean, you might, and I don't even know if you could, I just don't know. There's just so much little minute aspects of the job that can make things go really wrong, I think. Like if you're stockpiling, if the roads aren't kept up, I mean, there's just so much to it that I just think could go. I mean, it looks cool. I mean, it does sound cool. Who wouldn't want to operate a life-size RC vehicle, but there's so many little things that could go wrong with automated equipment that unless they develop a lot in the near future, I don't see it being a productive way of getting a job done. Now, there is some aspects and scenarios where I could see it being a positive thing. I've done jobs where I've been a part of them. I've been in the muck, in the moment where you would probably need something like that to get yourself out of that dangerous situation. I've been in equipment where the higher ups made us legitimately wear life jackets inside the cab, is how bad the environment was. I don't know if you've ever dealt with it, but it's called coal ash. I don't know if that's just a thing here or everywhere. I'm assuming it's everywhere. It's what powers power plants and energy gets us our energy for what we do now. And there are a lot of them being decommissioned, and they're going like, I don't even remember what they called it. But yeah, there's like a 3-foot crust on coal ash. It's pretty hard. You could be on it for a little bit with some heavy equipment, but the constant vibration and the weight, and especially if the conditions aren't right, the coal ash is so weird. Like, it's nothing like if you've done it, you know what I'm talking about. But if you've never done it, it's something you've never experienced something like this before. It could be dry as a bone one day, all day long. But if a cloud comes over and covers up the sun, that coal ash is going to change its consistency, I guess you could call it. And that's going to be a completely different environment. And it changes constant all day long, every day. You can never prepare for it because you never know. So to say that crane mats and life jackets are used like religiously on something like that is a very factual statement. Now, I don't know how other people handle it, but that stuff is dangerous. I'll tell you a story before we go further. There was this, I wasn't on the job. It was before my time. But there was a gentleman, there's these, they place these Proctor wells, randomly, sporadically. I'm sure it's very technically planned out, but there's just sporadic wells and stuff throughout the job that people can come in and take tests to see where the groundwater is and just kind of monitor where the groundwater is and what kind of conditions you may be having. So there's a guy who was out by himself one day. That's one no. Don't go out there by yourself. Always have a buddy with you. And it's like getting in a pool as a kid. Always have a buddy with you. Don't do it by yourself. There's a guy going out to check these monitoring wells, and ash is so I'm having like legit brain farts right now. Unpredictable. That's what I was looking for. Ash is so unpredictable. This guy was going out, and I've seen this stuff completely slough off. We have classes when we was on this job. We had to go through these classes and get certified in knowing aspects of the ash. There's different classifications of ash. You got bottom ash, coal mingle, all kinds of different stuff you got to look for. You got to look for cracks. There's so much stuff that this stuff does that people's found as we've decommissioned these places, that it's very unpredictable. I've seen this stuff. I've seen an excavator. This was on the job I was on. I've seen an excavator literally just chilling out, doing his job, and the entire side of his cut just gone. Tracks are suspended in the air. And this guy was a new guy, and he'd never been on this stuff, and he almost freaked out, and he got himself took back a little bit and gathered himself, and everything was good. But anyway, back to the guy. He was going out checking these monitoring wells by himself, and just him alone, no equipment or nothing. He wasn't driving a truck. He was walking, and the shelf that he was sitting on sloughed off, and they didn't find his body for 2 years on that job site. There's, like I was saying, a 3-foot crust on this stuff. And however far are the people before us back in the 60s is when most of this stuff was put in the ground. 40 foot. I remember our job that we was decommissioning was a 40-foot cut of nothing but this stuff. So you've got to I don't know. It's hard to explain how you got to go in and get it, but it is is sketchy, and I hated it, and it was scary. And to be honest with you, we're back on something like that right now, but it's nothing to that extent. We're covering it up with liner and stuff, and making sure that no one has to deal with it anymore. But that's just goes to show you that back in the 60s, or even like right now, there may be stuff that we're doing as a civilization that we don't know the outcome of it. And I'm not being like a tree hugger. I'm just saying, just for example, like the people back in the 60s who buried this stuff didn't know that it was going to pose such a problem and a threat this day and time, years and years later. So there may be stuff we're doing right now as a civilization that years and years later down the road from now is going to be something that someone else has to handle, just like we're doing right now from people back in the 60s. Just something to think about. But yeah, they didn't find his body for almost 2 years. And I couldn't imagine being someone on that job site, knowing that your coworker, your friend, somebody's, husband, son, dad is in this job, and you got to keep working. They stayed out there a long time and dug and dug and dug and tried to find this guy. And it was 2 years before they found him. We were actually taught, and this is under the radar teachings, but you're wearing a hard hat. If you know you're going, and they taught us, if you're in your equipment and it's going down and you're an excavator, there's, normally a roof hatch, leave that bad boy open. But leave the doors closed. Leave the doors closed, because if that ash comes in on you, it's like mud, but it's super weird consistency. It's hard to explain unless you're around it. Some of it's dry like powder, and some of it's like muck. And if it gets wet, it is crazy how water runs through it and it absorbs. But they teach you to keep your door shut, and you have some semi chance of survival if you can get out the roof. And we've actually sunk equipment like this, and people, I ain't even gonna go into all that, but they teach under the radar teachings was, if you're on foot and you're out and about in this type of stuff, you got a hard hat on, right? If you want any chance, like a 1% chance, not even a 1% chance, but it's something, the weight of this stuff's probably going to crush you anyway. But if you want a chance to survive, take your hard hat, pull it off your head. If you're going down and there's no chance, you got a little bit. It's kind of like quicksand, but you're going down still. If you can get to it, and this is a perfect scenario, this doesn't always happen. If you can get to your hard hat, take it off, pull the liner out of it, the little mesh webbing that holds the hard part from your head, pull that out and just stick it to your face. And then it'll give you some type of protection against that stuff getting into your nasal passages, your mouth, your throat, and you can breathe for just a little bit longer. So hopefully someone can rescue you. That doesn't always happen. The guy, missing for 2 years is the only one I've heard about, and I'm sure there's probably more, and I don't want to hear about them. But stuff like that is why automated equipment could be good. Now, you're going to have a lot of insurance and a lot of money to just throw your equipment out in something like that, because it's going to get sunk. But at the same time, if it does get stuck, who's going to be there to get it unstuck? You're not going to have an automated, Bluetooth binder or whatever, Bluetooth chain, and get this bad boy out. That's what I'm saying. There's always a catch-22 with this automated equipment stuff. But in that scenario, maybe I've seen skid steers you can operate with remote control, but you got to be right beside it or whatever. Maybe that could work in that type of scenario. But the stuff that I'm seeing, people in different countries running equipment, I just don't see that working out for us, guys. I really don't. That's my opinion. And I may be too stupid to have a valid opinion on this stuff. And there's maybe more to it than I know, but I would love to learn about it. So if you guys know anybody that knows about automated equipment that would love to come on the show, I know we're not a big show or nothing like that, but it's a good conversation piece, and I'd love to learn a lot about it. So if you know them, send them my way, comment them, put them in the comments, tag me on Instagram, whatever. If you are somebody that's watching this that knows about automated equipment, hit me up. Let's talk about it. I'll get you on the show. But that was just something I had on my brain, the automated equipment. And it's crazy. I've seen it on social media and that stuff. It's sometimes it gets taken out of context. Social media does. That's why I'm saying I can't formulate a valid opinion because I don't know too much about it. Because obviously I've seen it on social media. And speaking of social media, segueing into a new topic. A lot of people have been asking me, even close friends of mine, why do I do social media? Because where I'm from, in this little itty bitty town in the middle of nowhere, no one does social media like what I do, like daily posts, content, legitimate original content. No one does that type of stuff. I know some of my friends do, and they're just in a different craft than me. So why do I do social media? And people all the time, and when you like a lot of people who don't follow me, I noticed the new thing on Instagram is Reels, and that's what I've been posting. And a lot of people that don't follow you see your stuff and they're automatic haters. And what I've gathered and what I think, I may be dead wrong, but I'm fairly positive that the pride and ego of people in this industry is extremely bad. And a lot of these grown men has made heavy equipment operating their entire life. And I love it. I mean, it's fun. It's my job. It's my career. It's my future. But I do not take it that serious when it comes to minute little mistakes or something. Someone, I have never in my life, not one time, if you find it, send it to me. I've never in my life went and took time out of my day to go and post hate or be a smart aleck or something on somebody else's stuff. I've never done that. And I don't understand why people do that. Either they have nothing better to do or they're jelly or whatever. But people think why I do social media is to boast and say that I'm the best operator or I'm super good for, whatever. That's not even the case. That is the farthest from the case. Do I take pride in what I do as not, necessarily my work itself, but I take pride in being a blue collar American worker out here slaving every single day to provide for my family and grow a company that me and my dad has built. That's what I'm proud of. And I want to post stuff like my dad, 50 years old, didn't have social media when he was my age, So you can't, I would love to see what his day to day was like, back in the 80s and 90s, when he was doing this stuff, when he was my age. I would love to see that old equipment, the way they did things back then, but they didn't have social media, but I do. And I have a 1-year-old son who I hope one day wants to do the same thing I'm doing. And he may not, which is good. He can do whatever he wants to do. But if he, for whatever reason, wants to do what I'm doing, I have now created an archive, as long as Instagram stays around, but I keep them on my devices and stuff. I have created an archive for my son to go back and look at what I did on my day-to-day when I was in my 20s, which I find that to be absolutely awesome. And now I share it socially for other people to see. And if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. But people take it too far sometimes, and they will go and argue with a stop sign to prove they're right in whatever case it may be. And me personally, I like to keep it going. I will post and just try to make them even more mad because I know that they're already mad. And you can tell by someone's comment what kind of person they are. And I know if I can get under their skin or not. But I don't see the point in hating on people. If you're doing it wrong, you'll learn eventually. I'm not posting for, your approval or you to teach me your way, because there's multiple ways to skin a cat. That is for sure. Multiple ways. And just because I'm doing it differently than you're doing it does not mean you have the right to come on here running your boner garage. Some people call that a mouth. And I'm not about that life. So I just thought I'd get on here and get on my soapbox a little bit. But yeah, that's the only reason I do social media is pretty much an archive for things my son can look back on, which I think is awesome. And this podcast is something I want to personally do. that's why I do social media. I can't stand the haters. I'm not doing it to make money. I'm not doing it to get famous. I'm not doing it for any of those reasons other than an archive for my son to look back on stuff. And me personally, I can go scroll back and see, jobs that I've done before. And I'm like, man, and it brings back so many good memories with a lot of my friends and coworkers. And it's just stuff like that. It's not anything other than that. People take it to I'm trying to show that I am the best, or, there's these douche canoes that get on there and like, you need to turn your truck at a 45.7 degree angle if you want to be productive. No, not happening. I'm going to do it the way I want to do it, the way I feel comfortable doing it. And people take 30-second clips on Instagram and TikTok way out of context. You don't know what's happening over here or behind me, or what I've got to do, why I'm doing what I'm doing, because we know that we're fixing to do something completely different in the future that we have to prepare for. People don't see that. They don't see that. They don't take that into context. And then they're going to come on here and look like an idiot. And then they're going to have 4 of their idiot buddies like, that boy don't know what he's doing. I might not. I really might not. I might be doing this. I might just be winging it, but I feel like I've made it so far, and I've done, I'm not dead yet. And I've messed up. I've always, I mess up all the time, but if you've never failed, you've never tried. And if you never fail, you never learn. Remember that. People are like, I am a perfect operator, brother. I don't mess up. I don't mess up. I piss excellence. That's what I do. When I take a crap in the morning, it's a gold brick. And it says best operator engraved in the gold brick that come out of my butt. That's what it is. I am the best. The best operator, okay? If you're so good, I want you to come to my job site and show me your way. If you're not willing to do that, if you're literally wanting to teach people on Instagram how to be as good as you, and you're not willing to take the time to travel to their location and teach them, shut up. Thank you. On to the next one. I'm tired of getting, I'm on my soapbox. I'm out of here. All right. Next subject, the future of the craft, which really ties back into what we was just talking about. The future of the craft is dwindling, folks. Heavy equipment operators, that is. Blue collar in general. It ain't good. It really ain't good. Are we underpaid this day and time? Depends on where you're at. Me personally, yeah, I think we are. If you look at it at a larger scale picture, you go to work every day to your job site and you're like, yeah, we're building a parking lot, or we're building a 1,000,000 square foot building pad, or we're building a road, or we're grading someone's home, digging a basement, clearing trees. That's your job at that moment. But look at the bigger picture. Step back away from your job and look at all the jobs in one. We are literally building America, or if you're from somewhere else, the world. We are the ones building the world. We are the infrastructure creators. We with our hands, our skill sets, what we've learned over the years, are literally building America. And they're teaching kids that is bottom of the totem pole. Really? Okay. So you go to college. I didn't go to college. I barely graduated high school because I had I had some other things on my mind during high school that was not grades, if you know what I'm talking about. And they tell you, go to college, get you a degree. And I'm not knocking college. I know a lot of people that went to college, they make a lot of money, but they also in a lot of debt, my friend, and a lot of debt. And the attitude that you develop from going to college, a lot of times, is a crappy one. You look down on people for doing what we do. And that's just not the case, folks. I know people who went to college. I know one personally that went to college, and I make more money than they do, but they went to college, and I don't understand. Why spend the money to pay somebody, to pay to go to college? And half the time it's not even for a degree. It's because you want to go, it's like a 4-year vacation after high school for a lot of people, just to go get drunk and party. Luckily, I went right into the trades and started making that dinero. And but a lot of people go to college, they get wadded up in student loan debt, and now here they are this day and time. Pay for my student loan debt. Pay for my student loan debt. I was talking to my buddies the other day, and the best way we could put it was, you made this bed, you're going to lay in it. You chose this path. Own up to it. It's 2022. I'm 27 years old. I am so glad that I was like and I'll admit it, I was at the dead brunt end of the good generation. Okay. Everyone after me has turned into some, and some people call that a vagina. Yeah, I'm just glad that I was brought up in a way with a dad that taught me how to work for a living, and that I have to work for a living. There were some times in my teenage years where I didn't want to. I had other things, again, on my mind. But as I got older, I have a family now. I have a wife, a son. You got to work, folks. You got to. Unless you're just a millionaire. How do you think a millionaire became a millionaire? They worked. That's my goal. Generational wealth. That's why we started a company. Generational wealth. And I might not ever see the day that I become a millionaire, but I hope my son does, or his son, or my grandchildren. That's the goal here. Okay. It's not about, it's about generational wealth. It's not about making a quick buck. So you got to play it smart. But the future of the craft, you got to quit telling kids that being a blue collar worker is bad, or it's the bottom of the totem pole. You're crazy. You're psycho, I should say. I know of people in this craft, in this industry, that make well over 6 figures a year, and they're living good. They're living high on the hog, and they're doing a job that they love. They don't have student loan debt. Why is it that we're teaching kids that? Why? I think it is so that you can teach them something else not associated with their degree or their career. I think it's so you can, we're getting political here. I better stop. I think it's so you can train their brain to be the society that you want it to be. A lot of blue collar people, I'm going to say 98% of blue collar people have the same beliefs, same morals. And a lot of people that went to college have completely different set of beliefs and morals. I don't know if you've looked around and noticed that, but you kind of see what I'm saying. So with that being said, the future of our craft is dwindling fast, and it is up to people like us, the young generation. And that's another reason I started social media, to show people, hey, this is a pretty cool job. Let's give it a shot. Yeah, you might have to start from the bottom. Duh. You're not. That's the thing about this. Everyone expects things to be handed to them. You want to go from the bottom of the totem pole to, midway to the top right out of the gate. No, work your way up. I covered that in the last podcast. Starting from the bottom is great. It teaches you the aspect of the job, and it makes you appreciate it when you get to the top or move up, level up. You look back, you appreciate the level you're at now. You move up, you look back, you appreciate the level you're at now. Start from the bottom, learn everything you can, shut up, listen, do not complain, and have a good time. Enjoy the journey. Don't worry about the destination. Enjoy the journey. That's my 2 cents. We've got to stop telling people that we are the bottom of the totem pole. We're not. We create the totem pole, baby. We're the ones that build it. We're the ones that build this nation, this country, this world. People like us. How do you think them paved roads you drive on got there? A blue collar worker. How do you think that building you're watching this podcast in got built? A blue collar worker. How do you think the ditches and the gradient slopes got there? A dirt work grading guy? Huh? How do you think the trees that once was around where your house is sitting got moved. Blue collar worker. I'm just saying, that's just, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? We built this place. Those before us now, and those after us. But those after us aren't looking too promising because we got some kook telling our kids, you need to go to college. Blue collar worker, that's trash. That's bottom. That's bottom tier. That's bottom feeder. Nah, we built it. Who you think built that college or teaching that crap in? Blue collar worker. Just saying. Who fixes that professor's car when it breaks down? A blue collar worker. I'm just saying. I'm just trying to make some factual statements here. Yeah. I think we're pretty high on the totem pole, if you ask me. And yeah. Call us when your car breaks down or you need some grading done or anything other than what you're doing happens in the world. It's a blue collar worker. I'm just saying. But anyway, I had to make my point there. And guys, you have a voice. You have social media this day and time. Our craft is dwindling. We need to step it up. And there's a lot of people out there that I've seen, large followings, that are doing a very great job. I've seen some videos today that was just awesome. It's like it's what's needed. It's literally what's needed this day and time. So, yeah. Anyway, that's all I got for episode number 2. I got to skedaddle and go do some. Got to put some track bolts in a dozer. I got to change some fuel filters, get it ready to go to a new job. But I just wanted to squeeze an episode 2 in. Again, we're still looking for guests, and it's going good. And this podcast is probably I'm working on getting it sent out to all platforms. Found a website that allows me to do that, which is awesome. I got busy yesterday and I didn't get to finish filling out the thing, but it's going to be soon available on all platforms that you get your podcast: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. This is mainly a visual podcast, but we're gonna, if you want to just pop an AirPod in and listen to it as you work, that's cool too. We're gonna make that happen. And yeah. So again, thank you guys for tuning in to episode number 2. And I'm looking forward to episode number 3 already. I love doing this. I love talking with you guys. If you haven't already, subscribe, click that like button, and ring that bell when you subscribe. Ring that bell so you know when we post a new video. Like, comment, subscribe. Leave me some questions in the comments, guys. Give me some feedback. What would you like to see different? Hey, we're all a team here. We're making this thing grow. We're trying to make it work. So if you haven't, follow me on all social media at Official Dirt Gang, at Operators Only Podcast on Instagram, TikTok, Official Dirt Gang, all that good stuff. I appreciate you watching this podcast, guys. I really do. We're only on episode 2, but I'm having a blast already. Just the fact that I get to think about this throughout my day, what I'm going to do, what I'm going to talk about, how I'm going to get it together. It's fun. I love being a creative person, and this is awesome to me. So thank you guys for watching this. All 19 of you. I think that's how many subscribers we have now. So awesome. Thank you. And it might not even be that much. Maybe 10. I don't know. It's up there. It's more than 1. Okay. It's more than what we had. So thank you guys for your support. I'm going to roll on to it. Thank you for watching episode number 2 of the Operators Only Podcast. Peace.